1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Seems to be working. I'd like to just say a few words preliminarily, and then the highlight for me will be getting your questions in a few minutes, because I want to talk about what's on your mind. I urge you to throw hard balls. It's more fun for me if you put a little speed on the pitches as they come in. You can ask about anything except last week's Texas A&M game. That's off limits. We have a couple of men here from SunTrust. I was just up at the Coke meeting, and I sit next to Jimmy Williams there, who ran SunTrust for many years, and he wanted to be sure that I wore this SunTrust shirt down here. I've tried to get sponsorship on the Senior Golf Tour. I haven't had much luck, but now on the Bankers Tour, I'm doing a little bit better. And he says I got a percentage of the increase in deposits in Gainesville, so I'll go out for SunTrust, dear old SunTrust. I would like to talk for just 1 minute to the students about your future when you leave here, because you're going to learn a tremendous amount about investments, and you'll learn enough to do well. You've all got the IQ to do well. You've all got the initiative and energy to do well, or you wouldn't be here. And most of you will succeed in meeting your aspirations. But in determining whether you succeed, there's more to it than intellect and energy. And I'd like to talk for just a second about that. In fact, there was a fellow that Pete Kiewit in Omaha used to say that he looked for 3 things in hiring people. Look for integrity, intelligence, and energy. And he said if the person didn't have the first 2, that the latter 2 would kill them. Because if they don't have integrity, you want them dumb and lazy. You don't want them smart and energetic. And I'd really like to talk about that first one, because we know you've got the second 2. And to play along with me in a little game for just a second, in terms of thinking about that question. You've all been here, I guess almost all of your second-year MBAs, and you've gotten to know your classmates. And think for a moment that I granted you the right to buy 10% of one of your classmates for the rest of his or her lifetime. Now you can't pick one with a rich father; that doesn't count. I mean, you've got to pick somebody who's going to do it on their own merit. And I gave you an hour to think about it. Which one are you going to pick among all your classmates as for the one you want to own 10% of for the rest of their lifetime? Are you going to give them an IQ test? Pick the one with the highest IQ? I doubt it. Are you going to pick the one with the best grades? I doubt it. You're not even going to pick the most energetic one necessarily. You're the one that displays the most initiative. But you're going to start looking for qualitative factors in addition to, because everybody's got enough brain there and enough energy. And I would say that if you thought about it for an hour and decided who you're going to place that bet on, you'd probably pick the one who you responded the best to, because the one that was going to have the leadership qualities, the one that was going to be able to get other people to carry out their interests. And that would be the person who was generous and honest and who gave credit to other people even for their own ideas, all kinds of qualities like that. And you could write down those qualities that you admire in this other person, whoever you admire most in the class. And then I would throw in a hooker. I would say as part of owning 10% of this person, you had to agree to go short 10% of somebody else in the class. That's more fun, isn't it? And you think, well, now who do I want to go short of? And again, you wouldn't pick the person with the lowest IQ you would start thinking about the person really who turned you off for one reason or another. I mean, they had various qualities, quite apart from their academic achievement, but they had various qualities. In the end, you shouldn't really want to be around them, and other people didn't want to be around them. And what were the qualities that lead to that? Well, there'd be a whole bunch of things, but it's the person who's egotistical, the person who's greedy, the person who's slightly dishonest, cuts corners, all of these qualities. And you could write those down on the right-hand side of the page. And when you look at that, I don't know which one I'm using. Can you hear me okay with this? Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Your microphone on the side. Just come back up.
What do I do with it?
It just came loose.
Oh, it just came loose. Okay. You can see why I avoid technology. Chewing gum is about as far as I get. As you looked at those qualities on the left and right-hand side, there's one interesting thing about them. It's not the ability to throw a football 60 yards. It's not the ability to run the 100-yard dash in 9.3. It's not being the best-looking person in the class. They're all qualities that if you really want to have the ones on the left-hand side, you can have them. I mean, they're qualities of behavior, temperament, character that are achievable. They're not forbidden to anybody in this group. And if you look at the qualities on the right-hand side, the ones that you find turn you off in other people, there's not a quality there that you have to have. If you have it, you can get rid of it, and you can get rid of it a lot easier at your age than you can at my age, because most behavior is habitual, and they say the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. And there's no question about it. I see people with these self-destructive behavior patterns at my age or even 10 or 20 years younger, and they really are entrapped by them. They go around and they do things that turn off other people right and left, and they don't need to be that way, but by a certain point they get so they can hardly change it. But at your age, you can have any habits, any patterns of behavior that you wish. It's simply a question of which you decide, and why not decide the ones that, I mean, if you like, Ben Graham did this, and Ben Franklin did it before him, but Ben Graham in his low teens looked around and he looked at the people he admired, and he said, you know, I want to be admired, so why don't I just behave like them? And he found there was nothing impossible about behaving like them. And similarly, he did the same thing on the reverse side in terms of getting rid of those qualities. So I would suggest that if you write those qualities down and think about them a little while and make them habitual, you will be the one that you want to buy 10% of when you get all through. And the beauty of it is you already own 100%, and you're stuck with it. So you might as well be that person as somebody else. Well, that's a short little sermon. So let's get on to what you're interested in. And like I say, you can go all over the lot. So I don't know exactly how we're going to handle this, but let's start with a hand here someplace or other. Where do we go with the first one? Yeah, right here.
Your thoughts about Japan?
My thoughts about Japan? I'm not a macro guy. Now I say to myself, Berkshire Hathaway can borrow money for 10 years at 1% in Japan now. 1%. And I say to myself, gee, I took Graham's class 45 years ago, and I've been working hard at this thing all my life. Maybe I can earn more than 1%, you know, if I really work hard at it. 1% annually. It doesn't seem impossible, does it? So I wouldn't want to get involved in currency risk, so I'd have to do it in something that was yen denominated. So I have to be in Japanese real estate or a Japanese business or something of the sort, and all I have to do is beat 1%. And that's all the money's going to cost me, and I can get it for 10 years. So far, I haven't found anything. It's kind of interesting. The Japanese companies earn very low returns on equity, and they have a bunch of businesses that earn 4, 5, 6% on equity, and it's very hard to earn a lot as an investor when the business you're in doesn't earn very much money. Now some people do it. In fact, I've got a friend, Walter Schloss, who worked with Graham at the same time I did, and it was the first way I went at stocks, to buy stocks selling way below working capital, very cheap quantitative stocks. I call it the cigar butt approach to investing, is that you walk down the street and you look around for a cigar butt someplace, and you see one, and it's soggy and kind of repulsive, but there's one puff left in it. So you pick it up, and the puff is free. I mean, it's a cigar butt stock. I mean, you get one free puff out of it, and then you throw it away, and you walk down the street and try and find another one. I mean, it's not elegant, but it works. You know, if you're looking for a free puff, it works. Those are low-return businesses. But time is the friend of the wonderful business. It's the enemy of the lousy business. If you're in a lousy business for a long time, you're going to get a lousy result, even if you buy it cheap. If you're in a wonderful business for a long time, even if you pay a little too much going in, you're going to get a wonderful result if you stay in a long time. I find very few wonderful businesses in Japan at present now. They may change the culture in some way so that managements get more stockholder responsive over there and returns are higher. But at the present time, you'll find a very lot of low-return businesses, and that was true even when the Japanese economy was booming. I mean, it's amazing. They had an incredible market without incredible companies. They were incredible in terms of doing a lot of business, but they weren't incredible in terms of the return on equity that they achieved. And that finally caught up with them. So we have so far done nothing there, but as long as money's 1%, I'll keep looking. I mean,